You've probably said goodbye to your dog before. Maybe you held them. Maybe you whispered, "It's okay." Maybe you thought, that was the moment. But what if I told you the most important goodbye already happened and you didn't even notice it? There's something your dog does, quietly, gently, right before the end. Almost no one sees it for what it is. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your dog the same way again. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you might remember something you didn't even realise mattered at all. Think about your dog for a second, not just what they look like, but how they are with you, the way they wait outside the door, even if you're only gone for a minute, even if it's just the bathroom, like your presence is the most important thing in their world. And the moment you step out, that tail starts wagging, fast, uncontrollable, honest, before you even say a word. Before you even notice them, they noticed you first, always. Then there are the little things, the quiet ones, like how they choose to sit near you, not on you, not asking for attention, just close enough to feel you there, breathing the same air, sharing the same space. Maybe they follow you from room to room, even when nothing is happening. No food, no toys, no reason, just you. You turn around and say, "Why are you following me everywhere?" And they just look at you. Like the answer should be obvious, because to them, it is. Or maybe it's the way they gently rest their head on your leg, out of nowhere. No barking, no whining, just quiet contact, as if they're saying, "I'm here, and you're here, and that's enough." And you smile, maybe you laugh a little, "You're so clingy," you say, but to them, that's not clingy, that's love. Not the complicated kind we humans talk about, not the kind with expectation, or conditions, or doubts, just pure, simple, undivided love. The kind that doesn't ask, "Will you stay?" Because in their heart, you already have. You are their morning, their routine, their excitement. You are the reason they get up, the reason they wait, the reason they feel safe. You're not just a part of their life. You are their whole world. Every sound they react to, every step they take, somehow leads back to you. And the most beautiful part? They don't even realise how much they love you. They just do, effortlessly, completely, every single day. But then, something changes. Not all at once. Not in a way that scares you immediately. It's small, almost invisible. So small, you don't really question it. Maybe one day. They don't run to the door as fast. You open it, expecting that burst of excitement, that familiar sound of paws rushing toward you, but this time, it's slower. Still happy, still there, just not the same. You pause for a second, but then you smile. They're just getting older, you tell yourself, and it makes sense, of course it does. Then you notice they're sleeping more, not the usual naps, but deeper ones, longer ones. You call their name, and it takes a moment longer for them to respond. Again, nothing alarming, just different. Their food sits in the bowl a little longer than usual. They still eat, just not with that same excitement. You watch them for a second, then look away. It's normal, you think. It happens. And maybe it does. But then something else begins to shift. They start choosing different places to lie down. Not their usual spot near you, not the couch, not the bed. Instead, they move toward quieter corners, cooler floors, spaces that feel distant. You call them back, pat the couch, invite them closer. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. And when they don't, you feel it. That tiny uncomfortable feeling in your chest, the one you can't quite explain. Then there are the moments when they just look at you, a little longer than usual, not playful, not curious, just still, as if they're studying you, memorizing something. You meet their eyes, and for a brief second, something feels off. Not wrong, just different. Like there's something behind that look, something you can't quite understand. But the moment passes, you shake it off, you pet them, you smile, you go back to your routine. Because the truth is, you don't want to sit with that feeling. You don't want to ask what it means, so you don't. You tell yourself it's nothing, that everything is fine, that this is just time doing what time does. And deep down, you hope you're right. There's a moment that almost every dog owner experiences, but hardly anyone truly understands it. It doesn't come with a warning. It doesn't feel dramatic. In fact, it feels so ordinary that you almost ignore it. Your dog starts acting differently, not sick, not in obvious pain, just different. And that's what makes it so confusing. Some days, they follow you more than ever before, closer than usual, step by step, room to room, like they don't want to lose sight of you. Even for a second, you might even laugh a little. Wow, what's gotten into you today? But then, on other days, they do the opposite. They pull away. They sit in another room. They choose distance instead of closeness. And that doesn't make sense, because this is the same dog who built their entire world around you. So why now? Why would a dog who loves you more than anything start to change like this? Is it fear? Are they confused? Do they feel something is wrong, but don't understand what it is? Or is it something else entirely? Something deeper, something quiet, something we've been missing this whole time? Because here's the strange part. When this shift happens, your dog still looks at you the same way, that same softness, that same love, but there's something new hidden inside it, something you can't quite name. A pause that lingers a second too long, a glance that feels heavier, almost like they're trying to say something, but don't know how, and you feel it, even if you don't admit it. That subtle tension, that quiet question in the back of your mind. What is this? But life keeps moving. Your routine doesn't stop. Your responsibilities don't pause. So you tell yourself, it's nothing. They're just having an off day. It'll pass. And maybe part of you believes that, but another part, the quiet, honest part, feels like something is changing, not loudly, not suddenly, but slowly, gently, like a story approaching its final chapter, without telling you the ending. You might remember a moment like this, your dog just staring at you, not asking for food, not bringing a toy, not nudging your hand, just looking, quiet, still, present. And maybe you noticed it, just for a second. You smiled, reached down, scratched behind their ears. "Hey buddy," you said. And then you moved on, back to your phone, back to your routine, back to everything that felt normal, because to you, it was normal. Just one of those small, forgettable moments that happen every day. But what if it wasn't? What if that moment wasn't random at all? What if, in that quiet, still second, your dog was trying to tell you something? In the only way they know how, because dogs don't explain things. They don't announce what they feel. They don't sit you down and say, "Hey, something's changing." They don't have words, so they use something else. They use presence, the way they choose to be near you, or suddenly not. They use silence, the way everything about them becomes quieter, softer, slower. And most importantly, they use moments, small ones, easy to miss, easy to forget, but filled with meaning. Moments where they just sit beside you, doing nothing, yet somehow saying everything. Moments where their eyes stay on you, just a little longer than usual. Not because they're bored, not because they want something, but because they're feeling something. Something they can't explain, something they can only show. And here's the hardest part. Those moments don't feel important when they're happening. There's no music playing, no dramatic shift, just quiet, just stillness, just your dog being there. So you let it pass, like we all do. You assume there will be more moments, more chances, more time. You don't realise that this moment, this exact second, might be one they chose carefully, one they needed to have with you. Because sometimes, when dogs can't say what they feel, they show it in the only way they can, And sometimes those quiet, ordinary moments mean everything. Here's the truth most people never realise. Dogs do know when their time is coming. Not in a medical sense, not in a way we can test or measure, but in a quiet, instinctive way. Something deep inside them shifts, and before the end, they start to behave differently. Not dramatically, not in a way that clearly says, this is it, but subtly, gently. Some dogs become more affectionate than ever before. They stay closer to you, follow you more, lean into you like they're trying to feel every second. Others do the opposite. They grow quiet, distant. They choose space over closeness. And that's the part that confuses us, because we expect love to always look the same. But this isn't about routine anymore. It's about something deeper. And it's not random. It's not confusion. It's communication. In the only language they've ever known, every extra glance, every quiet moment, every step closer or farther away means something. But the hardest part? We often misunderstand it. We think they're being needy or tired or just getting old. Sometimes we even think they're ignoring us, but they're not. Not even close. They're not pulling away from them. They're responding to something, not in a sad way, within themselves, not in a dramatic way, something they don't fear, but in a calm, something they don't question. Way. And while you're trying to hold on to normal, they're quietly beginning to let go. Most people think the last thing a dog does is take their final breath in your arms. That's the moment we hold on to, the one we replay in our minds, the one that feels like the end of the story. It's emotional, it's heavy, it feels final. And because of that, we believe that's the goodbye, that is the moment they leave us, but it's not. That's just the moment we notice. The real goodbye happens before that, much earlier, in a moment so small, so quiet, that it doesn't even feel important at the time. There's no warning, no clear sign, no voice telling you, pay attention, this is it. It slips in like any other day, like any other ordinary moment you've lived 100 times before. Your dog is there. You are there. Nothing feels different on the surface. No sadness, no sense of ending, just routine, just life, continuing as usual. And that's exactly why it's missed. Because we're waiting for something big, something obvious, something that tells us this is goodbye. But dogs don't do that. They don't create dramatic endings. They don't mark the moment with something we can easily recognise. Instead, they choose something softer, something quieter, a goodbye that doesn't interrupt your day, but becomes part of it, so subtle that you don't stop, you don't question it, you just keep going. Because to you, it looks like nothing special, just another look, another moment, another normal day, but to them, it was never just that. The last thing your dog does before it dies isn't dramatic, it isn't loud, it's this. They check on you. One last time. They come a little closer than usual. Or they look at you longer than they ever have before. Not playful, not distracted, just present. They memorize you, your face, your voice, your presence, the way you move, the way you sound when you call their name. Sometimes they lean gently against you. Sometimes they sit quietly beside you. And sometimes they just watch you from across the room, still, silent, not because they need anything, but because they want to make sure you're okay without them. It's their final act of love, not asking for comfort, but giving it in the only way they know how. And the most heartbreaking part? You probably smiled, maybe patted them, and moved on, thinking it was just another normal moment. Remember what I said at the beginning? That the most important goodbye already happened and you didn't notice it. Now it makes sense. That moment when your dog looked at you just a little longer than usual, when they stayed close, closer than they ever had before, or maybe when they did the opposite and quietly gave you space. That was it. Not the final breath, not the last day, but that small, silent moment. That was their goodbye. That was their way of saying, I love you. I'm okay, and you will be too. No words, no warning, no way for you to fully understand it until now. Just love. Pure, quiet, unspoken love. And maybe that's what makes it so powerful and so heartbreaking at the same time, because it was there, right in front of you, and it looked like nothing special. So the next time your dog sits beside you, or follows you for no reason, or looks at you in that soft, gentle way, pause, just for a second. Put everything else down. Be there with them. Feel that moment, because to them, it might not be just another ordinary second. It might be something they chose, something they needed, something they're giving you, without you even realizing it. So don't rush it. Don't brush it off, because one day you'll replay that memory in your mind and wish you had stayed in that moment just a little longer. Sometimes the quietest goodbyes are the ones that loved you the most.